Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey,
Don't you hate when people do that? Camp is a huge part of my life. Summer camp. It didn't start to be a huge part of my life until I finished my first semester of college in 2011. So the summer of 2011, I flew out to Big Sky Country, Montana. To southwestern Montana, arguably the most beautiful place in the world. That's my opinion. And I was at the summer camp, my buddy Josh from my TT group at Belmont, and he's like, hey, Montana, come to Montana. It was April, right before we went to Montana in May. And it was kind of late to sign up, but I was like, cool, let's go. And my dad's like, you better go because you're not sitting on the couch all summer, my first summer back from Belmont. And so, camp, magical place. A lot of rules, a lot of new things. I get there, and I'm the youngest person. I am 19 years old at this point, feeling very young against everyone who's like 24 and 25, and all have beards, even the women. And only in Montana. I'm just kidding. But really, though, these guys were big and hairy, and all the women were like regal and elegant and like so wise, and I was like, oh, what am I doing here? I have no idea what I'm doing here at all. So we get to staff training, all the books, everything. We have to learn what to do, how to be a camp counselor. I'm like, what is happening? You know, we learn all the things not to do. We cannot do sex, we cannot do drugs or rock and roll. And I was like, fine, that's fine. I like Christian music, it's good. And it's all chill here. And all these things, I'm in our big boss Jim, like redhead, like scary as anything, because I had no idea. And I'm coming from the South, and I call everybody Mr., Mrs., whomever. And he's like, just call me Jim. I'm like, okay, sure, Jim, yes. And I was always afraid that he'd be like on to me about something. I was like, I got to make sure everything is perfect. It's my first summer here. I don't want to mess up. I want to come back, I think. And learning all these things. And how it works, we have all the college students, and then a few weeks later, the high school students come in. And that's when I met Lissa. And she's great. She's interesting. She's in high school, just finished her junior year. And little did I know how crazy this would be. And so we started off in the kitchen together, doing dishes. And I had my little flannel. At Belmont, you have to get a flannel. So I got my red flannel, and I came with it. That was the only thing I had. So she's like, hey, wear this flannel when we're doing dishes together and singing Disney songs. I was like, sure. And then I forgot on purpose because I was like, she might like me. This is weird. I don't know. I think she's in high school. I'm in college. What is this? So, And then we'd get to know each other. It was fine. We finished our first week at camp, whirlwind. Those kids were crazy, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. They didn't shower, some of them intentionally didn't shower, and would brag about it. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, I guess you can think it's like being a parent for the first time ever, and you're like, child, what is happening to me? And you're just like, not sure. And that's kind of how I felt, but I was getting a lot of encouragement along the way. It was really great. So, I saw Alyssa every so often, and, Alyssa Gerard, like Gerard Butler. That's important. So she said. And so our first weekend off, this was a big deal. I didn't know what happened on weekends because it was my first one. So we go to the dirt racetrack, Gallatin Speedway. Yeah. So anyone familiar with NASCAR?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So this is like NASCAR, except a lot more scaled down and for rednecks, really, really rednecks. And it's like a big old dirt racetrack, and there's a lot of rednecks. It's great. And this was our weekend off, and it's really loud and big and scary and everything, and the cars are driving around and they sound like this, and it's like things are exploding, and these cars, they're not like NASCAR. It's more redneck than anything. I cannot emphasize the redneck enough to you. And so it was ladies' night at the Gallatin Speedway. What does that mean? I don't know. For every lady that shows up, there are 3 to 4 desperate rednecks that also show up, perhaps. And and they were giving away massage certificates to all the ladies there. I don't know. This is weird. This is like hillbilly Montana. I'm not familiar with it. So, in my mind, how this was happening, it was just all there. And I was sitting with, my friend Danny, and then Lissa was nearby. I was like, cool, hey, listen. And, she's cute. And so then the announcer up at the speaker, just imagine him up here. This is actually a really big arena, like bleachers, like football stadium, but bigger. High school football stadium, but like times 3. And up there he's like, okay, hey, if anyone would like to make an announcement, just come up here and write it on our little notepad. I'm just like, okay, sure, I'll write something. Let's see, I don't know what to write. Because I think about these things that don't matter and I'm like, what should I do? It's really important. It's going to make a difference forever and make a story that I could tell at Storyhouse one day. And so I was thinking, and then because Lissa looks at me, she said, propose to me. I said, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And in my mind, like, it wasn't a big deal. In the context, the context being, in my mind, like, fresh out of, like, high school / college 1 year, mind is, I did marching band in high school. Anyone do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, marching band. So, like, there's this thing that was very not serious at all called bandagrams, where you'd pay $1 and, like, your parents could say, all right, love you, Soaring Eagle Marching Band, you're so great, you deserve ones. Or, like, to Susie, love John, I like you. Or, like, hi, Kylie, let's date from Steve, and like stuff like that. And like the announcer would just go straight through all of these things and like not stop. He didn't want to know. He didn't care if Kylie wanted to go out with Steve. He'd just keep going. So in my mind, that's what this was going to be. Because I was not that bold. I wasn't like trying to impress anybody. I was just thinking it would be fun. So I go up there and I write, I don't know how to spell Gerard, so I'll just, Lissa Gerard, will you marry me? And I write it on this little yellow notepad, put it hanging up, and I go back down and sit down, and one of the other guys, Paul, or one of my other bosses, bigger but not the big boss, but bigger boss, and he's looking at me, he's like, you know what you just did. You have to, this is serious. You got to find a ring. You're going to propose to this girl. I was like, what are you talking about? I don't have a ring. This is Montana. None of the guys have rings. Maybe the girls do. So like, I'm searching around and like, Shanae, yes, true love waits. Perfect. Lissa and I are waiting. So I'm holding onto this ring, promise ring, true love waits. I'm sitting here. He's like, well, sit down by her. Like, come on, what are you doing? Do you not know what you're... I was like, no. So I'm just sitting down by her. I was like, oh gosh, what's happening? And the cars go by again in another race. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, oh my gosh. And then it ends and the guy's like, all right, well, we have an announcement to make. This is a really, would you like to come up and say it? And I'm standing up looking at him and like, I got a purple Henley V-neck thingy and like skinny jeans and like, I don't belong here, but apparently I do. And I'm looking at him and no. So he's like, all right, Lissa Jared, said it wrong. I should have said, like Gerard Butler, will you make this man the happiest man on earth? And I'm just like holding true love waits and I'm just... And she's just, yes! Oh! And like, she's crying, I'm crying, because literally like, also it's 1,000 people, I didn't say that, I think. I don't remember. It was a bunch of people, a bunch of rednecks. So they're all, in front of this entire stadium, people are just watching from the press box, from everything, and this tiny little skinny hipster kid is like, ugh. And I'm crying, she's crying, and like, I like hug her, and I'm like, wait, oh gosh, wait, PDA rule? Right, oh gosh, wait, what's happening? And then she's like, says, we can't kiss, this is bad. What if they start chanting kiss? I'm like, we're ignoring them, we're waiting for that too. We're waiting. So I decide to compromise for believability, so I kiss her on the top of the head. PDA still, I'm like racking up these offenses here. And so then, and at that point, like, she says yes, everyone's clapping. Our, like, staff of, like, 30 people, like, all high schoolers and college staff and, like, the chef are, like, laughing. And everyone's like, well, that's not funny. It's beautiful, I guess. And, like, all the rednecks. So at that point, we're, like, sitting here. I have my arm around her, another offense tacking up. And, it's like, well, that's it. We're here. And, like, sitting here, like, everything's great. We're cheering for she's, if this has to have meant something to us, right? Like, if we were here, no, like, as in, like, why would this couple get married, like, engaged at a dirt racetrack? Because it's sentimental. So that's what she says. So she's like, we have to be into this, like, racing. We have no idea what's going on, but we gotta cheer. So we're like, woo, the cars are driving around, like, and we're cheering, we're like, yeah! And like looking around, people aren't cheering, and we're like, this is wrong, we're out of place, they don't know. And then all of a sudden someone comes down from the press box, a nice lady, and she's like, here you go, to the happy couple. And we're like, free massage certificates. Oh no. So we're like racking up more offenses here, and like I feel horrible that we took these free massage certificates away from who knows whom. And they also they took the little thing, I wish I had this, I really did, I think she does. And it said, the thing where I wrote it out and they like signed it and congrats and everything and like gave it to us as well. Pretty sure she has it. It would have been great to have it, but like, see, And at that point we were just feeling horrible. And to make matters worse, this individual in front of us was so inspired. He turns around and looks at us. He said, tears in his bright blue eyes. Tears. And he said, that was beautiful. You remind me of why I come here. I was just like, whoa! Like, we made this Rednecks life, and like, I cannot forget his blue eyes. Like, and how like bright and shiny and cryy they were. And at that point, we're just like, well, this is done. We're in trouble, we're in for it. So, we're like playing this role of just like, we are the happy engaged couple, everything's done, it's time to go, we're holding hands on the way out, and like, another offense. Dang it. Okay. Well, yeah, it's got to be believable. So then, we're in the vans. We have the big 15-passenger vans. We're going home. I'm like, Jim. Oh, gosh, Jim. Gosh, I just met him, and he just didn't have me call him Mr. Jim, and now I'm going to get fired. I'm going home. I have to fly home. My dad's going to be mad. So then we're in the van. Everyone's like, God, Alex, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. He's Jim. He's okay. He's fine. I'm just like, no, I wasn't crying, sorry. But like, I wanted to, I guess. So there's just like, we have these massage certificates, and I give them to the camp moms or whatever. So then we get back, and like, I'm like, all right, we're here out by the office. I'm waiting. I'm like, Jim's, I guess I gotta talk to him. And like, there he is, big Jim, not big, but redhead. And he's just looking at me. I'm like, hey Jim. And he just comes up to me. Way to be like a man and get down on one knee. Hits me on the shoulder, and I'm just like, I'm coming back. I'm not fired. Oh my gosh. It was beautiful. And then I went to sleep, and funny tidbit, I actually wind up dating Lissa the next summer because camp makes things happen. And yeah, she's married now.